In 1986, today's guest left Poland together with his wife as political refugees. Since then, they have both won numerous world weightlifting championships, founded the UCLA weightlifting team, and coached and transformed hundreds of people. Developing the Happy Body program in response to their clients wanting to remain youthful, today's guest is in great shape at 64 years old. Keen to know how he does it? I'd like to welcome Jerzy Gregorek to the Escape Your Limits podcast. Well, Jerzy, thank you for inviting me to your house. This is a beautiful place, and I feel out of place because I should have brought a vest.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you. Right?
But I don't think I have the biceps that you have.
Even in the shirt, you look pretty buff.
Really?
Tough, right?
Yeah, I don't have your biceps.
Well, that's how I am in the house. The house is actually the place where we coach, right? So you saw the gym, and this is the place where I meet my clients, and then we start here, in the house. And it was always like that. The house became really this place where we could create this ambience and reality and truth that we could start with. That's why maybe the house is a good. But when I go to other people's houses, I don't have it. It's not really the same. No. So when people come here and they start walking, and they say, when we drive this road from 280, it's all windy road. They come down already a little bit, right? And then they drive this windy road, very difficult road, when they have to really drive 50 miles per hour, and they arrive to the house, right? They already more come down or really upset. So they open the gate and they walk down and they hear this waterfall. It sets the mood toward more, calm down and happier and so on. Yeah. So it's good, that they're, in a way like in a spa or something.
Yeah, because we're in the heart of Silicon Valley. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the heart, the middle. Yeah, it's a very intense place where the most intense engineers and VCs are here, right? Investors, very intense. And then what we do actually is important because we created a system that would help them to achieve a good life, but also stress release. And the system that supports them 30, 40 minutes during the day that they actually can forget about the life outside, which is magical, really.
Yeah, you've definitely created that, because when we came off from the airport down the road and we opened the gate, and I totally agree with what you say. Suddenly we felt we was in somewhere like this little mountain hideaway, and very peaceful. And I must admit, I've forgotten everything else since I've been in here.
Well, it's important, right, to create that place, because if you come here, then a lot of people have a lot of different desires and the needs why they are here. And sometimes they are very emotional. So the place where it's safe, the place that is nurturing, the place is true, the place where everyone is toward really creating the right outcome, the right way, and the right feelings is important. Because you have to start talking why you are weak, why you have instant gratification, why you cannot really help yourself. Why? So it has to come out. And then a lot of people that come here, they are very successful. I mean, very successful. People that are professors, MDs, lawyers, VCs, CEOs, and all these people say the same thing when they come. I am very successful somewhere else, but not in this, and I don't understand it. So then the journey begins. Why is it so? And that journey sometimes is physical, sometimes is emotional, sometimes is spiritual. It just depends, philosophical. But that journey definitely has to start in order to help a person actually to build the self-control around the skill of life. And that is, it's a journey. Becoming actually something that you can control, become calm, feeling the virtue, and the feeling that you are good everywhere else, and you can actually relax, and you can go on and do your business and focus on your family, because all the nutrition, all the exercises, everything else is under control. And it has the vision that is going into the right direction. So over time, people get better. Once they get better, they sense it. Once they sense it, they understand the journey through time. So they release from thinking about nutrition because they become lean. They release from thinking about fitness because they become fit and they become strong and they become powerful. So they know it's a journey toward that direction. So they completely release that side. And simplicity is built in that system. So once it's very simple, when it's very pragmatic and the plan and the strategies are there, just people follow it on a daily basis, practice it, and then focus more about other things in life, like family, relationship, business, how to make better business. And in a way, what happens here, it happens with that they actually, their character becomes better too, because once they want to get better and they engage the system comes with a lot of obstacles to their emotional world, to the physical world, how they believe, how they think, and so on. So that is challenge. And because of that, they have to develop different themselves. So different human being has to come out. So that's why I say sometimes that people lose weight from 160 to 120. But it's not 160 and 120. It's 160 brain and 120 brain. How when you lose 40 pounds to go that direction, then you will go back if your brain doesn't like 120.
Right.
So you have to become that 120 that actually you enjoy it, you like it. You have to become that what that 120 is and support that and believe that way. And your philosophy has to stay with it, right? If not, then you will go to 160 back.
Which is what most people tend to do, I guess, when they try and lose weight. They go back to where they were.
Yes, and it's very difficult because, people, let's say you can feel that you are deprived and you can feel that it's not right, and then your 160 brain is going to cry for coming back. And then 120 will be very weak because it's just only imagination. And then when you come to 120, let's say you actually survive or this time, during this time you have to build the persona. You have to build better character. You have to build better believing system. You have to build likability of 120. You have to build all of it to stay there, to maintain it. Right. You have to build something that delayed gratification is the gift. Right. That in 120 you actually like it. You like it that way. You don't like to drink 3 drinks. You like 1 drink, and you actually like it, right? So how to become that is we build the whole business around that. The purpose of it is to create that person.
So are you saying then, when people, let's talk about traditionally, when people they go to the gym or they go to a trainer, they lose weight, they get from 160 to 120, and the reason that they keep going up or down a return then is because they've not developed their mind to, as they have their body, their mind's not trained in the way to do what it needs to maintain that. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Well, the past will drag the person backward.
Really?
So if the past is strong and the present is not developed the right way, so the past will drag the person backward. The fatalist will really cry for being fed, being sleepy, and have its own way.
Right.
So if that person doesn't create a different person, different past, let's say, the new past has to be built. Right. And what's the new past is during the process, let's say, you're losing weight, you're becoming more powerful. During this time, you have to build new past. And in the present, when you focus on the present, whatever I actually do, the present changes constantly. And actually, we'll live only in the present. Right? But the present, you have the chance in the present to make these things happen, what you ask for, how to shift from 160 to 120 brain. So we can use, the poetry, we can use the stories, we can use the philosophy to support the 120, right? And then something happens also with the whole virtues of living, how the virtues are really taught and how they could be accepted by the person, how the virtues can be your way. And then if not, the person will be in the present, craving the past.
And do you think that relates to not just weight loss, but just general things in life, whether it's relationships, whether it's in business? You're still, you get to a place, but if you've not developed yourself fully, you'll just revert back to where you were again.
Somehow you have to find yourself in the present, that you like the present.
Really?
Because if you crave the past, then in the present you are wasting your time to do something in the present on thinking about the past.
But why, if someone looks better, because if people want to get down to 120 and they've got it, why do you think they are still craving the past when they didn't want to be 160? What do you think is sort of holding them back there then in that situation?
Well, the lifestyle of 160 is still in the
lifestyle,
brain.
right.
It's the lifestyle of they want to drink a lot, they want to dance, they want to do the old way, right? Okay. So they feel deprived, they don't eat enough, they are not fun with other people, and all of it they think is correct. Yeah. So all of it you have to change to be able to be 120 and do the same thing. To love the food, love a lot of food and different food, and control this. Becoming the one that really loves the 120, falls in love. So that the ultimate wisdom is that I say a lot is that fall in love with what you don't like, but it's good for you.
Right. Okay.
All right. So the 120 is good for you.
Right.
Let's assume that 160 is obese and it's not a good way of living. It's weakness. You have diabetes and so on, blah blah blah. Right. So now 120 is a good thing, but you don't like it. You really don't like it because it's a different way of living, different lifestyle. So how to fall in love with this 120, and how to make it happen that you actually become 120 and you're not craving the past. You're actually focusing on the present and you like the present. That's how it is when we become something. Right. In the present, we love ourselves. So in the present, when you actually love the present, then you are good with the future and you are good with the past.
Yeah.
So in the present, you flow in life.
But we don't live, I guess most of us, we're not living in the present. We're always living, I guess, in the future or somewhere else, would you say? I know certainly from my experience.
No, you're wasting the present on thinking about the future.
Yes.
And thinking about the past.
Right, yes.
That's what happens to us.
Yeah.
Constantly we think about we're not focusing on actually what we are doing. We are focusing on how it's going to be in the future, or how it's not going to be in the future, right? So we get really anxiety about that, or how it was good in the past, and how it's not today, right? So we can be wasting a lot, not only wasting, even have really bad energy because of it, right? Waste your calmness and waste your good life on just thinking, wasting the present on two directions.
Yeah. Do you find that common with a lot of the people you work with, that they're very much focused away from this present moment? Is that a common thing for a lot of your clients?
You think about the present moment, it's a hard moment. Yeah. It's usually the moment that the truth exists. So, but that's where progress can start. If you are in the present, then you can really see who you are, how good you are, right? If you're not, you are dreaming about somebody that maybe it will become, or somebody that it was before and it's not today. If you let it be, then let's say you are aging and then you're getting old and you are overwhelmed by the feeling that you are worse than you were before. But that is why, because you're thinking about the past, right? You're thinking about the present is not existent for you. So if it's existent, the present, then the reality is you're 65 like I am, right? And then you live that 65. All right, so what does it mean 65? Where am I? And what should I think about to be in life, right? I should think about, okay, am I healthy? If I'm not, what I am, and what to do with that. What is the solution to the problem, right? And then find the solution, work on it in the present, right? But that means also hard choices, work, progress, plans, solutions, and so on. And also surrender to your present moment, right? What is it? What is the quality that you are at that time? But if you do, you have a chance to make it better. Right. If you do, you have a chance to make it better. You don't have a chance when you think that it should be better or it was better and it's not, right? So when I look at people that when they get older, and it's very depressing because getting older is a very powerful force. For me, it's a very destructive force, kills us all, right? Finishes all. So it means that we have to really think about how to live life that it doesn't take you easily, right? So it's not so simple. So I imagine that you have the power to sustain your life through, let's say, 100 years. And then at the end of the 100 years, you should go away, or maybe live more, but you should go away like a light bulb, boom. You should go into the dream maybe and then not wake up or something because the body is ready to go. And I think that it's possible. Really? That is, I think that what I think it's possible with about 95% that we have the capability to create that. And of course there are genetic factors and so on to deal, but it doesn't mean that genetics, we cannot actually work with those things too. Yeah. So coming back to the present, the future, and the past, we are here. We are in the present, right? And as much as we are in the present, the quality of that video depends on it. If I think, let's say, how I would look in that, and I will have, anxiety and fears of that I will lose the present moment. Yeah. Right? It's very clear. So with every client that I am completely in the present moment. So when client comes here, I have a talk. I have a talk in the present. And in the present, when I stay in the present, I have a chance really to work with, to find something that needs work, to find something in reality that I can start building the progress and working with micro-progression and making a human being better over time. Right. I have a chance. If I have my preconceived idea of what the person is supposed to be, and then it takes me over, then I will never have a chance to actually, create the flow with the person. Right. I will be smarter than the person, I will be better than the person, and the person will feel it and will not spend with me 2 or 5 years of a journey that needs to be really done in order to create a different person, that create this 120 and not 160. Yeah?
Yeah. How do you practice being, because it sounds, I've sort of read about this myself, and it sounds like a great place to live, in the present. I certainly spend a lot of time in one of the two, and you're right, it does change your emotion, and it can either make you happy or sad, which is probably not a good place to be. What are some of the things that you do to kind of keep you grounded in now?
Well, I think I'm always in the present. So,
Right.
I think that the most important thing is that you have a, dialogue with a person, that you don't have an idea about what you want to convey, that idea, or you don't have anything that you project on a person. So you have just that joy of being with the person. If you have the joy of being with somebody, then you flow and the present moment happens. Once you start thinking about something about the future, you jeopardize the present moment. So I will give you the funny example. So I was in Baltimore and I was attacking world record in snatch, and I came to the bar. I was good. Everything was focused. I approached it, and I snatched it. I was, holding the bar up, and I was holding, and then just to stand up. That I always could stand up, right? So this is the simple thing. The hardest thing is just to catch the bar and receive it and control the bar. It happened, and I could only stand up. But at the same time, I smiled inside. I went into the future, how great, it's going to be, right? But at that time, I didn't notice that the bar was traveling a little bit backward. If I didn't smile, it was not in the future, right? I would catch the bar, but I was not. So I was thinking about the future. And so it took me away and then cut me off from the present moment. And then the bar started traveling, and then I lost. Boom, right? So, it's just one of the lessons how important it is that you stay in the present. Also in the present, you have only the chance actually to make things happen, different, work. It's always in the present. Well, the future really doesn't exist, neither the past. But you can waste the present on either one.
Yeah. Do you think that's got something to do with also having single focus? I know nowadays people talk about multitasking and doing several things. Is that being in the present also about being very focused on that single thing, or what's your views on that?
Yeah, it's how we created the happy body flow is important here, because that's the singularity of the brain. We created 6 things that we do during one repetition, and we focus on that. So the brain focuses, let's say, on inhale, and the brain focuses on flexing certain part of the body. Does it then, right? Then there is a lift, right? And then there's 3 is the lift, and then there is stretch, right? And then there is return, and then there is release of the breath, and then all the release of the tension in the body, and then there is another inhale, right? And then is another flex, and another lift, and another stretch. And it goes like that. It becomes like a mantra, like meditation. Because you have to focus on everyone, and the stretch is the most important part in the one repetition. Then you cannot lose it. You cannot just do it, because you have those things that you do. Since you do those things create a mantra. The mantra after, because you do over and over and over. These things also can take you away, has the most power to take you away from overthinking, from being stressed, from your work, and can give you a release. For some people, it can be very boring, extremely boring. So when it is boring, I tell them, listen, if it's boring, slow down. Don't go fast. Slow down. Find the joy of the breath. Find the joy of the lift. Maybe you're going too fast. If you're going too fast, you can really lose it. And you can start thinking, right? You start thinking. And once you start thinking about some other things and so on, you lost the present moment.
Do you think that could apply in, we'll talk about skip over to business, but sometimes things can be boring, when you probably should continue what you're doing and you want to, try this idea, try that idea. Do you think that is the same principle, is, slow down, think about the movement or what you're doing?
I think that the appreciation here is very important, and also slow down when you come to the place and you can have very whiny and complaining attitude, or you can have the attitude that is very good. Let's say receptionist. You come and you become and you work in the dental office. You have dentists and you are a receptionist there. And you came and there is this room where people sit and so on, right? And then you pick up the phone and you have all these files. Okay, good. Now, the place is kind of dirty. The place is not pleasant. There's no ambience and so on. So let's say you're a positive person. Yeah, the person that in the present moment. So you see those things, and then you are the person that, there's a problem. What is the solution, right, for that? How to make these things better? That is the brain of what they are looking for, right? So the receptionist talk to the dentist, say, I would like to paint these walls, this color and this. I want to change this and that. Is it okay? It will be only like $300. And they say, yeah, of course. And so you do those things, right? You do, and you change, and then, in a 3-4 months, this place is very attractive, very pleasant, very beautiful to sit and so on. And there is more people who are coming and to see dentists because they like the place. They like to sit there and so on. And the receptionist is very kind to people and, welcome everybody the right way. And, she loves the place. She loves to be a receptionist. That's, as a metaphor for anywhere where you would be, right? Yeah. You find, but you could be also a receptionist that is very complaining and say, it's a dirty place, I don't want to work here, it's really hard to work, or has to work and works there, and then goes home and whining to the husband and to children that she works in a horrible place and so on and so on. It's just the same person, right? Yeah. The same place, the same thing. So you have really in life a choice. A choice in that present moment. You can find improvement. You can find the goodness. You can find the way to evolve, to make things better. That's the receptionist that is really good. Mm-hmm. Probably will get a raise right away. Dentists will be happy with what's going on here. People are really nice and kind and so on. Yes, it's the same place, right? So they will probably appreciate receptionists.
Yeah.
They will really like her, right? They will like her because they don't even know why. They are busy on doing their stuff. But they will notice improvement there. They will notice what's going on.
Do you think, we had a conversation off camera about this instant gratification, so whether that's wanting to have the perfect body or the perfect business, and that nowadays people want things immediately and they're not happy because they don't get them. Using that scenario, are you saying then, like, regardless of, if you want that great body that's going to take you however long, or that great business that's going to take you however long, rather than being in this present day unhappy that you're not there, is make those small changes to where you are and enjoy it, because that is going to get you to where you are instead of not being happy where you are? Is that?
Well, I think that when I work with people, I focus on a journey. That it's a journey, and it's a journey of life. So it's not important how long it is. If it's 3 months, if it's half a year, 1 year, life, it's not really important. So because it's not really, because doing something shorter in shorter period of time, you will probably cut corners, and it will be, long cuts will happen, right? Not shortcuts.
Right,
Shortcuts
long
and
cuts.
create long cuts, right? So be with the things the right way, flow with the things. It means like you give it the right time to arrive, to make it happen. You don't speed up. If you speed up, you have to jeopardize the quality. And the quality is everything, right, in life. You want to create better quality. And better quality will not happen if you push it.
No.
So it has to come with the right timing. So you have to be patient. Yeah, you have to develop patience. You have to develop improvement that goes with, the patience, waiting. So delayed gratification has to happen. Delayed means you are in the frontal lobe, frontal part of the brain, and where the planning is, when the strategies are, where all the data is, and so on. So you are okay with the plan. You're okay with the strategies. You're okay. So if you want to, let's say, go to Olympics and you're a pole vaulter and you are missing like 2-3 inches to the world level, so then you talk to the coach and say, Coach, well, it will take time. It's not important really that it's 5 years out. It will take time. And it's impossible to say that it takes 5 years or 6 years or 7 years. It will take time. So now you go and then you coach yourself and you use coaches to actually break all these records, right? And then it is a journey. It's a journey of adaptation. It's a journey of adaptation of the body to different levels. And that the body has to accumulate every level, adapt to the level before it goes to another level. And it's all time, and time of adapting and so on and moving on. And the time corrects these things. And then, in 5 years or 7 years, you go to Olympics, and maybe you will not go. But it's not really important.
No.
The important is that you are on that journey toward that place, right? And then if you, the one thing is that when you are on journeys like that, you shouldn't have any expectations, first of all.
Because I guess if you're in that position though, like and you're driven and competitive, then you want to be on there with the gold medal. I guess, with your, you're a world champion. Did you not ever want to see yourself on there with the medal? And
well, yeah, I mostly focus on the present moment, on the work. Like I made a mistake with the breaking the record, but whenever the competitions are, I stay inside of myself, so not to be connected to what's happening there, whether I will be second, third, or fourth. As soon as I get there, then I'm in the future, right? And that I will lose 1 or 2% of my power. And that can take me to the 4th place or 5th place, right? So if I stay with the present, if I stay with what I am for there, right, then I have the possibility for my 100%. Okay. I cannot be thinking about the past or the future there. In the present, if I stay 100% there, I will do whatever I do, and I will be second, third, or fifth, and it doesn't matter. But what matters really is that I will do my 100%.
Okay.
And that only matters. And then I only have these capabilities if I stay away from manipulation of the thinking who I will be and how and so on. That part is for the coaches to figure this out, not for me when I'm there.
Yeah. It makes it easier. How do you then wrestle with the ambition to say one day I want to break a world record or be world champion? Are you saying then that really you don't even want to be having those thoughts? You just want to be saying, look, I enjoy this. I'm going to do the best I can. If I end up world champion, I am. If not, is that the
well,
philosophy?
you have a goal, right? You have the goal, and your goal is, let's say, the world championship. But it's a flicker of a horizon. It's not really fire, right? Then you have a journey there to get there. You have plans, you have strategies, you have everything what you can control, right? What you cannot control, what you actually become at the end. Right. So to comprehend is, let's say, you see the archer. The archer focuses on controlling the bow, controlling the tension, controlling the aim, and everything about, and practices this for 10 years, and then goes to Olympics and aims, push, do all the things that he does, and then what he can control, and then releases, right? The arrow flies through air, and that arrow he cannot control, right? It's not up to him anymore,
No.
right? So if he's healthy, he's okay with whatever that arrow hits, 4, 5, 6, 10, it really doesn't matter what it hits. It only matters what happens after. If it hits 2 and he get upset, it's going to be really bad because he is not going to hit a better one, right? Or correct himself. If he doesn't buy that idea of anxiety and so on, he keeps this calmness. So he will correct that maybe. He said, oh, went there, so I will do this and that and that. So he is engaged completely in the present moment, how to correct things, but not being upset about where is it and how is it. Oh, he got 2, oh, he will be third now, right? So that he cannot buy that idea that he will be. If he is going to be third, he will be third.
Yeah.
Right? It's not great, but he has the best chances if that thoughts are not in his present moment.
Yeah.
So that's the most important factor, that you stay away from manipulation and thinking about where you're going to be. That as soon as you do that, you go out of your present moment.
So I read a lot about sports people, and they visualize whether it's a boxing match or something, and they're visualizing when they're going to take down their opponent in the 3rd round and all that sort of stuff. What is that counter to your belief, or are they actually doing something quite different? Whether it's visualizations of an outcome.
They try to, you have boxing match is a different thing that, pole vaulting, let's say, or the match, let's say, of the golf, right?
Yeah.
It's a very emotional game, right? In boxing, you don't have it. You have instant hits and so on. So it's a different sport. You have to be very good in the instant, and also strategize the plan how to do it. It's still strategy. It's still in the present moment is happening, how it's going to happen, right?
Right.
And I don't know how far they can go with the brain that is manipulative like that, and how far they can go with actually the flow when they fight, and how much is that flow actually helps them to be in the flow and not to have too much thinking about the past or the future and so on, and how they are going to do that, right? So if they stay in the flow, they are calm.
Okay.
And if they are calm, they have better capabilities for actually to end up their way.
Right.
They will not be knocked down probably, because usually when they get into the problem, they will do something stupid. Yeah. But why we are doing something stupid when we are in the fight?
Okay.
Because our ego is coming in, right? And our ego is charging, and then we start charging, and that's when we are starting losing control, and the other one is taking over.
Right.
But
So
if you keep the control, that I think is about control, calming down, and learning that. You remember that? What is that movie that Sylvester Stallone was playing
Rocky?
the coach?
Was it?
No.
Oh.
It was the new movie. Forgot that title, D or something. So he is in the position of coaching, and how to coach that one that wants to attack and wants to fight and so on. But he has to learn the patience. Has to learn the self-control. Has to learn not to attack when it's not the time. But that is the flow. If you go with the flow, you will come to the time. You don't have to think about it. It's going to happen. The worst thing you could have, it can happen to you, is you do something stupid. You do something stupid because you are just simply not ready for it.
Yeah. So it sounds like, and this is something I've played around with a lot and read a lot and still not fully worked it out, but it sounds like in your case, you you set your mind on a goal, you know, whether it's to build this house or whether it's to break a record. So you kind of have that idea, but then you separate yourself and it's like, okay, look, that's where I want to go, but now I'm just focusing on doing what I can do. You're almost separate from it, although that's your destination. You're just now not attached to it where you're taking yourself out in the moment. Would that be a good assessment?
Yeah, and you focus on the present moment to actually do the work.
Right.
Right. So you're a diligent person. So you don't have to worry about that you pay your bills and so on. You are responsible. So you don't have to worry about that is something bad is going to happen. You work hard. You are going to make things right. And you are doing everything what you can in the present moment already. So you cannot expect something better than it is. Yeah. It would be illogical, right? So you focus really on that present moment of building this house. Well, you started building the house and then you think, oh, it will be 5 years. Could be 7 years or 10 years, right? Could be 2 years. You really don't know, and things can happen. The city will call and say, well, we have to change the plan, and then the ground is not stable because the house can fall, so we need to build support, and it's going to be another $300,000. We were not ready for it, right? So okay, so how are you responding to that? The challenge, hard choices coming in. So when you are flowing with it, you are okay with everything what happens. You're okay with the $300,000. It needs to be done. It's going to be done, and that's it. So you do that, and you're not getting upset that something you have to do. Yeah. And it's a very important factor. Once you get upset about something, then you completely jeopardize whatever you want to happen.
Yeah, I get that. So
it will delay, actually. It will be away. It will not be faster. It will be longer.
Yeah. So when going back to the beginning of your story, I've listened to how, when you sort of came to America and you literally didn't have anything, and then to make it worse, you went and you had your bag. You came here with one bag, and that disappeared. Is
right.
This the two things? One, tell me the story of that. I think it would be interesting for the listeners. And two, was that the kind of mindset that you had when that situation happened? Maybe tell the story first.
So when it happened, so we landed in New York. We had this big luggage, right? And then we sent it to Detroit because that's where we're going. And then it didn't appear. So I his eyes like this big, right? I said, what? I think that life wants us to be clean. That's good, right? Well, say you take it another present moment. Present moment is the luggage is gone, right? So now you have to really respond to it. You can have productive respond to that, kind of constructive and a good one, or you can have very bad respond to that and whine for a long time and complain that you lost the luggage. Yeah. It's just the luggage, right?
But it wasn't just your luggage, though, because you maybe we need to back up on the story, but it was your whole life was in that
yes,
luggage.
Exactly. But
everything
even though,
that you
right,
owned.
it's still, something that happens.
Right.
Something that happens doesn't mean that has to upset you, right? It can be, simply you can look at that, this happened now, what is my solution for that problem, right? So it's gone, right? And now I'm thinking, okay, what should we do? I'm already thinking, we have $1,000, we don't have our luggage, we don't have clothes, and we are in Detroit, and we want to go to LA, right? So we buy the tickets and we go to LA. We land in LA, and the person that was going to help us, I call her and she says she's sick and she's going to pick us up. So we are in LA, and we don't know anybody. We have $600 and alone, right? But before really we were landing, and there was, in LA, like, you know, in the evening you land, like it was my first landing. It was just, wow, these lights. It's just like ocean of lights. It's beautiful, right? But then when I looked down, and there were pools, right, down there. And I look at that, and I was just thinking, wow, these people are there. They found their way of life. Well, we will find our way of life too. And see, they all have pools there. So I said, well, in 2-3 years, we'll have our pool too. When I said that, Angela thought that I lost it. Like crazy.
Because you had $600 and
yeah, that's
nothing.
just like really. But she was thinking about that. I was not thinking about that, right? So we landed, and then this person said, I cannot come. So, okay, situation, another situation, really hard situation. You can get, again, into, you know, being upset. But what's the use of being upset, right? So I started calling. Angela was upset, but you know, I started calling. So action right away. You know, something happened, action. So I started calling to Germany, try to find somebody that could help us in this place. So I found a person that worked somewhere here in Los Angeles, and it was like he came to us. It was 1 a.m. We just got stuck there. We didn't know what to do with ourselves. So he came and he said, I can take you somewhere, but I cannot take you where I go, because the place where I go, so he was with his wife, and they were taking care of the house for somebody. So they were housekeeper or something like that, the couple. So I said, okay. And there was somebody on the plane that was going to Los Feliz, and his aunt was supporting him. And he gave us the telephone number and the address. I said, that's all we got. So he took us there. And it was, you know, about 2 a.m. and we arrived there. And the aunt was not welcome really as well. But Andrew said, well, you know, we have to find you at least one night to sleep here. And we were just exhausted and tired. And there was this Polish guy that lived in a small hut in the back. And he said, you know, you can sleep on my floor. We'll give you some blankets, and then you can survive there. And so we did, right? And then during the day, Andrew's aunt had this business with apartments, small apartments units, where they needed to be cared for. So he was taking us during the day, and we were working there, and then we were back and we ate. So we worked for the sleep and the and the food. So 3 days passed, and then we really had to find our place. So there was this Polish couple that they were built. The man was really self-made man. He was building another house in the back by himself from things that he found. It's amazing. I tell you. It's just like, wow. You know, he found whatever he found, he brought, and he evolved with the house. That was just amazing, really, view. And the houses have made about half into the, you know, full the house, and has some rooms, and this Polish couple agreed that we can stay in one room. It was cold, but it was the room that we could stay. He still was working on this house. We stayed there for about 2 months, and during these 2 months we walk everywhere and try to find our way, you know, to start to find yourself in America, right? And we came to the place in Eagle Rock. It was where Bob Heiss was. There's the whole family of Heisses, 3 generations of weightlifting, and he was the president of American Weightlifting Association. And I talked to Bob, and Bob was a fantastic, personality. And Bob said, coaches are not doing well here. Weightlifting, they don't pay for weightlifting here in America. So he said all the coaches, they become mechanics here, or fix cars or whatever. That's what they do. It's good business. So, you can do that too.
Yeah.
I said, Bob, I don't want to fix cars. And he said, well, then there is something else. And I said, what is it? And he said, you know what? There is people call it personal trainer, but coaches don't like it because it's working with regular people and not with athletes. And they just don't like that. So I said, well, maybe I will try it. So, maybe I'll like it. Who knows, right? Then I said, that's better than fixing cars.
Yeah.
So we walk from Los Feliz, and then we walked to Burbank, and we found Power Source Gym. Big gym, like Gold Gym or World Gym, about maybe 10, 20,000 square feet, big gym. And I went there and I talked to Aram, and Aram said, you can come and try. I will give you a try. But first, we came and we wanted to train because we didn't have any place. So I talked to Jimmy. Jimmy was the manager, and he let us to train for cleaning the gym after, at the end of the day. So it's good. So we did that and so on. And Aram, the owner, looked at our training and came to me. He said, you know what, I can give you a shot. I give you 5 hours, Monday through Friday, $5, and then you can start and do the training here. But I said, what should I do? And he said, well, you have to figure this out. You just go and help people, right? That's how it was, right? So I said, okay. But at the same time, there was also, when new people were coming in, they were sent to a trainer for 1 hour. They didn't pay for it, I think. They joined the gym and something. So I was receiving these people. When I was receiving these people, then I had this capability of pointing where the problem was and develop the solution for it, the plan, strategize the plan, and give it to people. That's how you should do. So it's all the micro progression stuff was already in, and also where to begin to create the progress, right, with the person. So that's the important factor that I had. And whatever the people were coming with, they came with, desire to get rid of medication, or the healing injuries, or losing weight, or getting strong, or becoming beautiful, or not depressed, whatever. So like people, right? And with all kind of different desires. And I was really great with it. People really liked what I did. I mean, really like it. So they started signing with private sessions with me. And the sessions were sometimes bought like in a month or two, even for 1 year for
really?
some people. I started training people 7 days a week and so on. And started really very fast to work like 16 hours a day. And, slowly we were becoming better, and then whatever we were doing was working. It was working on both ways. We were able to move from this house and to rent one room in Glendale. And then we were able to get into the small house for $300 a month in Burbank. Our client lived there, and he said, you people are very poor, so I will go out of there. I know all these people, and you can move in. You don't have any credits, things, nobody knows you,
no.
But I will help you. So we moved to this room. It's a one bedroom, but it was maybe 300 square feet, maybe less. But it's a small house like that, cut in very little living room, and the bedroom is just the house, the bed, right? That's it. So that place, Angela transformed into the, colors, and we painted that place. We restored the place. The flowers. It has a very little place in the side. It was hot. It's Burbank, right?
Yeah.
And it was really bare. But yeah, we transformed that place very fast into a very beautiful, colorful place. And our clients were millionaires, right? And they were coming from different places, and we had these people from Beverly Hills coming into the house and eating dinner with us and be happy. So that idea came to me that happiness is really something that is like a dinner with friends. If you have dinner with friends and you have just the table and the food, and your happiness doesn't depend on anything else, then everybody is able to get this happiness. Mm-hmm. It's available for everyone. Yeah. And I understood the happiness. That is the happiness. It's you. If you have the table, if you have place to put the food on, and you have food, then that's all you need. Now you create this ambience, the atmosphere with your friends that creates this great time. And the quality of your life, the quality of everyone there is important. How you are, how can you flow together? If you flow together, if you laugh, you have a good time, and so on, you are successful. You won really the biggest success on this planet. This is it. You don't have a hangover, you really have a great day. That is where the end is. That is your success.
Right.
Everything else is just something else. But it cannot add. It can be the dinner on the boat for $2 billion, right? It can be the dinner in Africa somewhere in the hut, right? Yeah. It can be dinner in Siberia somewhere. But it will end up with one thing. People up there, and whether they can enjoy it or not. So, I saw a lot of people that they are billionaires and very unhappy, right? And I saw very poor people unhappy. And I saw billionaires that they are happy. So, and poor people that they are very happy, right? Yeah. So the situation here with the happiness is that if you are really capable of really enjoying life on the very level that of the food and the table, and you have friends that you can flow and enjoy being together, you won.
And you talked about not having a hangover, and we chatted about that before then. And tell the story about the sort of realizing that with the drinking you were missing that moment. I guess that's similar to being with your friends. There's probably a certain time where you end up going from being happy and enjoying it to then being anxious and forgetting about it. Would you relate that story?
Yeah, well, I was an alcoholic for 3 years in Poland. I had blackouts every day. Every day I drank. Every day I drank until I lost the time. Sometimes I lost 2-3 days. Came out of the house on Thursday and came back on Monday, and I thought it was Friday. And I lost it, didn't know where I was, right? So then I was helped with Mirek, the one that helped me, mentored me, pulled me out of the bed and pulled me out of alcoholism, drinking. But it was very transitional. So there are transitions built over the years. So from the day one when I lifted weights with him, and then we went for beer and drank and so on, and then for the days that was less beer and more connection to the lifting, and all the transitions were on and on and on, right?
So this guy was getting, just to sort of clarify the story, so this guy was coming around, you were drinking, and he was coming around and you were working out together. He was getting
Well, the story began this way. So I guess I have to tell you the story. So I was with my friends So we were just 18 and a half, something around, right? And drinking, and we went to this place. It was a kind of a restaurant with disco, right? And we were there, and some athletes came and kind of were drinking with us. And there was one that his mother threw his weightlifting equipment outside of the house and said, enough, no more, and so on. So when he said the story, I said, well, you can come to my house. Yeah, I have a room so you can train there. Of course, you have to understand that when an alcoholic offers something, it's never real.
Right.
Never thinking about that because he will not even remember next day. But he's already offering. But these are the addicts. They are already offering everything. Yeah, it's like they would give you the world, right? Why not, right? So it's just like the head is in the sky.
Yeah.
So, so next day, it's 3 p.m. I'm already drunk, and I'm taking a nap, and he's knocking to my window. I open the window. I don't remember what he was. That's what it was the last day that I told him to come and so on. And he's telling me this. I said, really? I said, yeah, okay. I said, okay. So bring it in, right? So he brought all this equipment, and it's in the room. And he said, let's go train together. I said, no, you do your training. I will have a nap. And he said, well, come on, we'll just do only the bench and then we go. I said, forget about it. I just have to take a nap. And he said, well, let's do the bench and then we'll go for beer. Like, beer? So, I was the alcoholic at that time that I had to find drinking every day. I didn't have money, and that's how alcoholics were. It's just you have to find the drinking. And where you find it, that was the only work, the job that we did during the day. Find the money to drink, right? So to use it for drink, that's it. So when he said beer, that was it, right? I was ready. So it's okay. So we did a little bit. Went for beers. We had some beers. And then every day, kind of the same way, right? Beers and good. And sometimes I got more drunk or less drunk, and we were going to the place where we were drinking, and he was going. Sometimes, other athletes came, and a mixture happened, and so on. And then a month passed, and two, and I was actually getting stronger, right? Better in the lifting, and then. But drinking was really heavy still. When we went for drinking, we were drinking. So then about maybe 5 or 6 months, I got really feeling of the weightlifting. And I was started really good in it. So I was getting more and more into it. And then I said, well, it's either, it's like you want progress, you want something, and you come to the obstacle, right? That you keep drinking is not going to happen. You have to really figure out something here. And then I stopped.
So you had a decision to make either two.
But I stopped for weightlifting,
Okay.
to really train weightlifting, to seriously train weightlifting, to become a weightlifter. And that was important for me. It was more important than anything, but just 6 months, if I didn't have this 6 months, there wouldn't be me. Wow. So it's definitely mentoring or somebody, mimicking somebody that helps you to pull out of this deep depression. It's important to have another person there.
Okay.
He was really pulling me out of that black hole. And he did.
The weights.
He was just doing certain things that he needed to do, and he was not aware what he was doing. Right. I was not aware what he was doing, and we were just doing it, right? But in the present moment, we were just good.
Yeah.
We like each other, and we like the time after, and we hang out together, and we both like each other. So it's a lot of things happen during this time. But I understood, from perspective of time, that how important is the another human being for you.
Right.
If you really need help, you need sometimes somebody's outside.
Okay.
If you are in the depression so deep that you cannot help yourself, you have to have outside help.
Okay.
Otherwise, you will just commit suicide. That's going to be end of you. That's
Yeah.
what I had too. Yeah, I had suicidal thoughts and so on. So I was lucky.
Yeah.
I was saved. I was, blessed by this man.
Yeah. And the fact that he was getting you to work out in a sense.
You see how the things can happen, right? But the transition now, how it happened then. So I was mostly sober for 15 years then, not really drinking, and whenever I would fall into really heavy drinking. So, but I would drink one day, and Daniela watched me, waste myself completely and lose my my thinking process and so on. And then, as the years were passing, I practiced this drinking and not drinking. I thought that the control of the alcohol can happen, but it was not happening to me, right? And then about 5 years after, about 20 years after when I stopped, we came to this party. So I could only go to the party or something like that once a month. I couldn't go more often because I had to really...
You just drink too much.
Yeah,
Right.
I just drank too much and always drank too much.
So you
like
was
I would eat too much, right?
So you wouldn't drink, but if you were ever drinking, you would properly drink.
Yes, and then I didn't drink for a month.
Okay.
And then
Sounds like me.
and then boom again, right? And then a lot of things happened during this time too. I meditated, I wrote poetry, I went to Vermont to study creative writing in poetry. So I don't know how it happened, what happened, but it happened one day. And I was in this house, we came to the party, and then we were there. We came, I remember exactly the house. And the house was really like this Victorian house, really beautiful, and went in. And the house was very pleasant inside, like this house. This house is very pleasant. I like the colors and everything around. This house is like you feel good inside of it. That's how I felt in this house. And the people were around, and everybody had a drink as usual. Like, so pick up the drink, and Daniela went to talk to somebody, and I look around, and I saw the stairs. And I woke up, right, the stairs, and I came to this room. It was a really beautiful room, a lot of paintings, and the paintings somehow got me. I look at these paintings, and one after another, and like I had the feeling that I don't want to forget the room, right? I didn't want to forget the room. I didn't want to drink so much that I wouldn't remember the room. Somehow that it struck me inside. So here, really, when I coach people after that for so many years, I was thinking about this moment, and then that I knew that there are words to the right person in the right time.
Yeah.
But they are the right words, and you don't know what words are going to, work. That's why you can, read 100 poems, but one will move you so much that will flip you in life, right? So that's just the same as I was. I was flipped in this place. So that, I understood that stories are important. I understood that poems are important. I understood at that moment that meditation is important. everything is about the lectures and things and mentors. All of it is important. All of it adds to something that one day will flip. So when I flipped there, I stopped. I stopped drinking at a certain point. And I remember I started drinking champagne. It's really funny. I started drinking champagne and getting sober, right? And then when I got sober, got a little bit alcohol, and I sensed where I was losing. Started drinking champagne. So it was on and off. And it was on and off for a while. And then it brought me to, some years after, to the place where I could have 2 or 3 drinks. Stop there. Not a problem. No more than 3, right? And then I started recognizing that when I drink the 3, I have days that I say something mean, something not right, and I have to apologize next day. So I start connecting that it's really 3 drinks creates the situation when I lose it.
The third drink is
I
the
become
one
a person that I don't want to be.
when you get to that third drink.
Yeah,
right.
and in the past maybe it was okay with me, but since I was becoming a better person in life, maybe I noticed that is not the right thing to do. So it's very complex when it comes to the psychology and philosophy of life and why we do what we do, right? So at that point when I got it, then I stopped on 2. And I stopped on 2 for years. For years I stopped on 2.
How many years was that since you did that, made that decision to stop on 2?
Oh, from drinking 3? Oh,
Yeah.
about 5 years at least,
Right.
right? Then stop on 2. Then another 5 years.
Right.
And then something with the 2 happened too, that the 2 was that next day, I was something about next day that I could get too hungry, and I was on a way of eating that I wanted to have certain body fat percentage and so on, and this alcohol started interfering with that, self-control over the food. And definitely alcohol, really 2 drinks were enough for me to be ravenous, to just eat and monitoring myself, knowing I was eating too much and keep eating until my stomach hurt, right? It is like crazy stuff, right? And you watch yourself really getting bad. And you cannot override the impulse. You cannot really stop yourself.
Right.
All the self-control is gone.
Yeah.
So I put together that self-control. I'm losing self-control on the 2nd drink. And that no matter what I do, it gets me into the instant, gratification, and I will eat like 20 apples. Right, 20 apples, boom, right? And it's just, I will eat it until my teeth cannot eat anymore. But that's kind of, I think, could be that alcoholism created this self-awarding system so strong that it was so difficult for me to, to control, or I needed many, many, many years to really pacify it.
Yeah.
It calm down that one. It took 30 years of meditation and 30 years of poetry and so on that it could calm down.
Do you think it is that, like alcohol is that instant gratification, again, like we spoke about, where people want that and that's just a way of instantly, getting something that you think you want?
It flips that, the trigger, that instant gratification, and also it also excites us too much. When we start losing the self-control, we can be too aggressive, we get too angry, and so on. Alcohol is tough. It's very powerful. So then I stop on 2, on 1.
On 1.
The 1, and then I had this poem, but 1 is enough, right? I've written this poem, and then I started working with how I would drink the one drink and I would be happy. It's like this 120. I would be happy not to drink two. So when we go for dinner, then I will order my drink, vodka and fresh lime squeeze. That's it. Right? That's Jerzy's way. And then I will order sparkling water on the side and the green tea. So I have 3 drinks. I drink a little bit tea, drink a little bit alcohol, right? As I drink, I pour the sparkling water in, so dilutes every time I sip it. And then I keep drinking this and 3 of those things, and as I slowly sip off, I feel better, feel warmer. Then I keep pouring the sparkling water, and it takes me 2 hours really. But I'm happy, really, all the time, right? I just found my happiness and my tune-up. And then at the end, I'm just drinking water. The one thing is about keeping the glass full is that the waiter will not come and offer another drink because it's full, right? So waiters don't like me, but after a while they like me because I give them the tip bigger than normal. So they understand, oh, the guy is not drinking, but he's drinking 1 drink, but he's okay, right? So, it's in the strategy. You see, like you want something, but it's
same for food.
It's a hard choice. The same for food. How to develop the strategy around, and how to find a way, the plan and strategy around, so it works around that. So you can actually have what you want and enjoy what you want. Right. Yeah, you put this together, the joy of doing things, this 120 brain, like I was talking about, is enjoys the 120. Yeah. It's not really craving 160, actually enjoys it. And when you find a way into that, you change. You change permanently.
I guess with food, it's the same thing. You enjoy having these big foods or whatever is bad for you, and like the drink, you're the equivalent to an alcoholic with food. It's like you need to find a way of enjoying maybe a little bit or a different food, I guess.
Food is even tougher than that, because food is, Socrates said that, to controlling the food is the most important, thing in life. Really? And it is, because we all eat, and we all really, with alcohol you can reject it and then don't use it at all. With food you have to eat. And once you have this instant awarding system strong, then you keep reaching for it even though you have enough. So in the happy body, we establish all the mathematics and the numbers around that. So the person knows, okay, I can eat this amount here, and that's it. So that's important factor, because that is the numbers you can follow. If you have the numbers, you can actually succeed. If not, you don't know when you shift, because delayed gratification is when you actually delay the certain food that you would instantly eat, right?
Right.
So you will eat in 3 hours. So you will eat, let's say, an apple and some nuts. But your instant is asking for more. So if you act on it and you not, consciously understand what's going on, and you don't have the willpower actually to act on it, then you will, boom, you go for it.
Yeah.
But if you have the message that whatever you ate is enough, and logically, mathematically, that is enough for another 3 hours. So you have the message, strong message, that is enough. Now, if you have that message very powerful and strong, and understanding is that behind it, that you can have a chance to know that whatever you want to eat now, it's instant gratification. You are going to award yourself, and there is nothing to award here. You will be eating only to become the joy and pleasure of swallowing and so on. But right. You are not going to be eating really for food.
I guess that's what we all do. Probably a lot of times we eat or drink just for that instant gratification, I guess.
So the shift, like Socrates said, that you live to eat or eat to live, right? And there's a shift in this eating when everybody eats. Once you identify that moment that you actually, eating food, but not for living, like you live to eat, then you start living to eat, not to eat to live.
Yeah.
So at the beginning you eat to live, then you start living to eat.
Yeah.
And that's the shift between the delayed gratification and then instant gratification. So that's, when you capture that, that you have a chances to control it.
And you talked about, the mindset being a big part of this. Do you think sometimes we're just eating and drinking because we're not happy, and that's something that just makes us instantly feel happier, and it's a root cause of something that's a little bit deeper that we need to deal with? Because I guess we over behind us there's the chair where you sit down and talk to people, and we went to see where you meditate. Is a lot of that where you kind of deal with some of those? It's just the eating and drinking a result of something else that's got to be dealt with?
Well, it's life, right? And we want to be happy, want to enjoy life, and so on. So we live that way of life that we think is the best way it is, right? So sometimes it is a lot of drinking, a lot of eating, and we are not aware of a better way of living. Mm-hmm. We just live that way of life, right? And we simply don't know why it happens to us, what it happens. We just think it's life. Yeah. It's like, you're supposed to be dead at a certain time, and or age certain way, and wear certain clothes when you are 65, talk like 65, walk like 65, and not to do what I do, right? So that's kind of a normal thing that what we do in life, and we fall into this way of believing that is the way, right? But at the same time, there is other way. There is a way of controlling these things. There is a way that people practice better way of living. There is a way of building the skill of life, better skill of life, and that's what we created the Happy Body system, to help people to gain self-control, to gain calmness, to live this life, the good life, to achieve on their own that way of life. And then it is possible, and it is there. We outline mathematically everything, and we outline everything that is eternal in a way. It's valid in 1,000 years, or it was valid 1,000 years ago. What is valid? Valid is that flexibility is important. Valid is that strength is important. Valid is that fast reactions are important. When we age, we lose it, right? Posture is important. And certain body weight is important, so it's not too big, not too small. And the muscles are important, because when we are aging, it's going away. So all of it is important, but in a way, it is about everybody. It's like, whatever the flexibility is valid. Today it will be valid in 1,000 years. So we focus on those things that would be valid in 1,000 years or 1,000 years. Yeah. And then we put standards around them, so people could override their impulses and start arriving toward these standards and making themselves better, go on a journey and take a journey toward those standards as the Olympic goals in a way. Yeah. But that's the Happy Body is this enter system, that it's a system of a youthful system. The purpose is simply living a good life. What is good life is that the life that you don't have pains, you are happy where you are, right? And then you function, and you are never exhausted, never tired. So everything what you do is really wise, it's smart,
It's
intelligent.
being conscious.
Yeah.
It sounds like a lot of these decisions, you're thinking about them, whether it's food or drink, instead of just automatically thinking that's how it's done. Like the
Right, and the physical side is very important here, and then there is the component of the spiritual life and the component of the philosophy of life and so on. So that's where I see the mix. The human being is the mixture of the self-control and the virtue.
right.
Yeah. So you can control yourself and be a very mean person, right? Or you can be a virtuous person and out of control.
Yeah.
So you know how to work on those things is a journey. You go and then you go to people, and then you start mimicking people how they are. Those who have virtues, those who control themselves, they can be your teachers. Yeah, and then everyone in life is your teacher.
Right.
So everyone is that you meet in life becomes your mentor. Everyone becomes your bad mentor or good mentor, and so on. So it's important that you start recognizing that people matter, really, what kind of people you are going to engage, what people are there to actually improve your life, yeah, make that life, you know, better life. So it's the Stoicism about here, because Stoicism is really about the 4 words. Right, so self-control and virtues.
Right.
Right, and that creates a Stoic. Eternal too, because everybody is a Stoic. Everybody is a mixture of self-control and virtues, no matter what.
Right.
Whether you are Buddhist, Catholic, and not believer, well, whoever you are, you will be the mixture of these 2 things.
Right.
Right. If you are the mixture of these 2 things, then
to different degrees, you mean?
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Right.
But you know, you could be, but that is the whole thing is not important really where you start, right?
Yes.
But you really need to know what is it the starting point is, and capability of actually recognizing where is the starting point, right? So you can create the progress, you can create the journey, actually becoming a better Stoic, and you know, better and better and better in life. But Stoic is not important idea. Idea is important, self-control and virtues, right?
And is that what you mean when you say, like, about, you know, hard choices, easy life? Is that sort of, you know?
Yes, exactly. Well, the hard choice is connected to the progress and process of becoming a better person, better human throughout the life. So if you have hard choices, you know, if you are attracted to hard choices, you are about progress in life, because progress will come with hard choices no matter what. If you want to get better, hard choices are coming. If you want to entertain yourself, easy choices, but there is no progress. So that's what the fitness around stuck is. Easy choices, no progress, right? So the progress is coming with the hard choices.
Right.
And it's really, when we are attracted to it, then we learn how to progress and how to find joy with it.
Yeah.
There is joy there too. So
You
you know,
just
it's
have
like,
to search it out, I guess. don't
yeah, it's
you?
like somebody said that self-control is, you know, more pleasurable than self-indulgence. And-
Self-control is more pleasurable than self-indulgence, right?
And I
okay.
see it, and it's true.
Well,
Because
well,
self-indulgence is a lot of suffering, a lot
Yeah,
of
I guess,
disappointments
ultimately.
and frustration and so
In
on.
the long term, though.
after, you know,
Yeah, not in
after
the
you
short
have this
term.
on and off and so on. But
Yeah.
you have the self-control is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful. If you can, I cannot imagine something better than actually delay gratification. It's a gift of life if you have it. If you're stuck in the instant, you are torn apart by whatever you are going to reach, and you have to reach for it, and you keep reaching.
Yeah.
You cannot stop it. And it's a very sad story with, you know, many of us, right? That we cannot just stop. It's very difficult to stop. It's a really hard choice to stop and
Yeah.
comprehend the whole. We think that actually to reach for it is a good thing.
Yeah.
But you will never have enough, what you don't want in the first place, right?
We talked about that earlier. Yeah.
Exactly, we talk about that. So you know,
Right, and you say people can't control themselves. I was listening to one of your interviews, and what do you mean by that? Then we can't. Why can't people control themselves? What's your sort of?
Why they can?
Yeah.
Well, because controlling is becoming better in the skill of life, right?
Right.
If you can control yourself, and that means that everybody has these capabilities, right? You have to be on a journey now to reach that, to analyze that, to see every day how you live. So you have to have a journal and start with the journaling, doing the happy body, let's say, and that will plan everything for you. And then when you're on a journey, you start seeing where you lose the control. Because in order to control yourself, you have to see where you lose it.
Okay.
So when you start really engaging the happy body, then you have to eat certain way, certain time, and then not eating between. So if you are snacking personality, then every 3 hours you should only eat 3 hours, right? But if you start eating between, you have instant gratification. Yeah. You are attracted to the food, and the food really is calling you. It's a very powerful call. It's a call, right? Almost like a devil call, right? It's just getting you in. It's really hard to resist at the certain time when it happens. So you drain self-control very fast when you have instant gratification, right? So it is important to calm down. So it's important to go through the day very gently, smoothly. That's why our happy body training is very kind of soft and small and staying in the parasympathetic nervous system. No excitement, no anxiety, nothing of it. Just smooth cruising through. So you can have this self-control, calmness there, and you are not drained.
Is it like an energy then, self-control?
Yeah, but you are not. It's like a battery. Yeah.
Okay, right.
It can be drained. It's a draining system. It's not really the amount of it is limited.
Okay.
So it's a limited source of energy, right? So you can be drained very fast. So if you can be drained very fast, then you have to have a plan. You have to have a strategy how to not to be drained.
Okay.
So the first thing, staying calm and staying without anxiety, without is very important. So how we set it up, the training first, singularity of the brain. We talk about how you do it, but all of it is smooth and pleasant and kind. Everything is mindful and good.
So it doesn't, it's not like a big drain.
Exactly.
Forcing yourself to have to do something that's difficult, and then afterwards eating some bad food because you're worn out.
Exactly. So you don't drain your self-control. Then you go to meditation room, and we have this piece of music that you listen to for 5 minutes.
After the workout.
Right.
Okay.
So to shift more even the sympathetic nervous system, even activate it to parasympathetic nervous system, and engage the thinking process. The thinking process that is thinking about, well, what is it life about? What was it? And so on. So it has you can have insights and visions and so on during this time. It's very important, right? So as you go through the day, right, and if you do it the right way, calmly and good, then you have you have this instant gratification that is not engaged.
Okay.
Right? As soon as you go, let's say, on a treadmill and start really going, then boom, right? The energy goes up, the muscle has to be eaten a little bit, hunger strikes, and then you go into eating. And then it's very difficult to get the self-control in the process.
So are you saying then, when your style of workout is that when you finish, you're almost like rejuvenated and uplifted, as opposed to traditionally when you finish your workout, you're burnt out and done. You know.
Yeah, but when you do the workout, really, the cardiovascular kind of workout, whatever people are talking about, you also burn the muscle.
Right.
If you burn the muscle, the body has to rebuild. The body gets hungry, and then it gives you the boom. The instant reward system is strong.
Yeah.
Right? It's calling you. And then you have to eat.
Yeah.
And you eat probably because you will not be able to resist. So in our system is that instant gratification is not firing, and you are able actually to eat your own fat during this time and be okay with it. See, that's where you are eating your own fat, and that fat is accepted by the body because you didn't burn the muscle. Right. So you don't have the messages that, oh, we have to build this, you have to rebuild, we need food. It's a very strong message to the brain to go after food. Yeah. I have clients that after running 10K, they would eat like 13 donuts or something. Like, it's crazy stuff people
so
do.
What's your view on the fitness industry? Like a lot of the sort of things that you see out there. Do you think it's moving in the right direction, or do you think it's there's a different way that's probably not mainstream yet?
Well, I think that what helps the athletes the most, right, to become better, is they have the goal, and the clear goal that what they need to become. So that goal justifies the process. And if you don't have that goal, if you remove that goal, then you are in entertainment. So
right.
Fitness today is entertainment in the entertainment zone.
Okay.
So when we
do you think that's a bad thing, or?
It's a pretty bad thing because
right.
it goes nowhere, right? So it's just da boo boo, right? There's no process, there's no progress, there's no hard choices. Okay. It's all easy fun and so on and boo.
But you don't think that leads to people, getting up and being active and?
Well, a little bit, but there is no way really, because we compromise on actually whatever is needed for that person to do, so that person understands where the person is, okay. Understands what the progress, what is the goal, what we are doing to get there. The data is not collected, how we are related to the goal today and in 2 months and 3 months and 4 months, right? So we are not really, the time is not connected to what we want. Okay. There is nothing to want. People, we have a time, good time, we have energy and so on, right? No, what is it that a person wants, right? The person wants to heal the knee, right? Not to go on something on a treadmill, yeah? So the healing of the knee has to happen. But that is lost in the fitness. Mostly, it's just the goal of better body.
Instant gratification.
And measure it, because there is no data of it. So there is no relationship to it. So there is no vision, there is no plan, and there is no strategy. Those things that were created in 80s. When we went to the gym, those things the trainers kind of had it. But today just classes. Everything became, not like human to human. Right. But because when you go to the gym, weightlifting gym, it's a really clear thing. You have the coach, you have the understanding where you are, what you need to do, and then how many years maybe it will take to be certain way. Everything is kind of connected too. And
so it's a journey, I guess.
It's a journey. Also, there is a whole plan that has to be created to make that journey happen.
Right. And those tough decisions and
hard choices and things, because there is no hard choices in the fitness today, because everything. Why hard choices, right? Yeah. The hard choices when as soon as when the rubber hits the road, everybody changes to something in different class and different class, because we improve very fast at the beginning.
30 days or something, which is what?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But really, nothing has ever been built, great, without doing this for at least 5-10 years. Right. So if you want to improve,
people don't want to hear that.
Yeah, if you want to really improve your, let's say, your quality of life, then you have to first measure it. And the happy body measures it.
Right.
Measures you just right away. It says you're here and here and here and here. And then you should be here and here and here. Right away, okay. So I'm here, there. And then you start working on yourself to get there, right? And then there are transitions and process and the things that can happen on the way. Since it is the road that will improve you, also this is the road that actually gives you the obstacles and gives you the possibility of building better character. You are becoming a better person because of it.
Becoming the 120
Yeah.
person instead of the 160
Yeah, exactly.
person.
Then you become the person that is patient, becoming the person that strategizes things, becomes the person that controls certain things on the process because you have to. So you become this person. Like I was a weightlifter already in Poland, and then I was going to go to the party with people, right? So I said, hey, let's go and have a party. I said, no, I have to be in bed. So at 10 o'clock, I had to be in bed. I knew if I am not, that next day, my training is not good. Yeah. But it was so already ingrained in me that I knew that I need my training, good training. Like my coach one day said, I missed a day, and I said, Coach, what should I do today? 2 of them, right? Because they were different days. And he said, you missed the day, you miss it forever. Yeah. You have to do it today, what you are doing today, 100% that one. If you do 2, both will be 90%. Yeah. There will be no 100%. Yeah. So, but if you missed it forever.
I guess that must be like life those things must spill over into your life as well. So although it is your body, it's probably decisions you're making about everything else as well, I guess.
Well, yes, and then, whatever it is, you kind of have to set up that goal. So you have to be transparent. You have to be, visible. So, if you don't have goals and you are a trainer, what are you doing? What is it that you're doing? Like, where are you going? Nowhere? What is it going on here, right? It's like, okay, what's going on? So you need those goals, and you need the responsibility to deliver the goals. So, if you cannot deliver, then the best way would be to be vague and to hide behind something that doesn't have any goals. Oh, we'll have a good time. Okay, good, right? We have a good time, fine. But the goals have to be long-term goals, like the flicker of the horizon, 5 years, not like, little goals. You can have like weight loss, let's say, in half a year, should be from here, get there. Well, if you hire a trainer and then after a month nothing happens, you better fire the trainer, right? But you have to have numbers to know that. But if you go and hire the trainer and the trainer doesn't support any numbers, then nothing happens. And nothing is going to happen. You just have a good time. You have a babysitter up there. Yeah. So the other thing is, I think that never hire the trainer that is younger than you.
Really?
Don't do that. Well,
that's interesting.
If they are younger than you, they will not even know what it means. If the trainer is 20 and you are 40, wow, you are completely in different zone. In different way of believing system, different way of knowing what is happening to the 40-year-old, 60-year-old. Come on, you just cannot get with that one that is younger than you, because here we will just simply do things that will destroy you.
I guess they need to be developing more older trainers to come on. And
yeah, it would be beautiful trainer, right? Okay, 6 packs, nice, and so on. And we'll tell you, oh, you have to do this and that, and you will have 6 packs. Right. No. If you are 60, there are different 6 packs. And 40, different 6 packs. 50, different way of achieving the 60 packs. Yeah. It's a different way of controlling system, different plan, different strategies connected to it. Because once we age, metabolic rate drops, the muscle drop, power drops, a lot of things happen. So you have to be really stoic, you have to be really good in the present moment to be okay with it. Because once you are not okay with it, you get crazy. You will go and want to do something faster, yeah? And that cannot be done. That's only distraction, right? So you have to comprehend what is the present moment and work with the present moment. Work with yourself that is 60-year-old. And then you have the chance to make that one 65 better than it's 60. So I have this man that came here, he was 64. And 11 years after, he stood up there and he said, you know what, I came here 11 years ago and I was worse at 64 than I am at 75. And he said, it's not only that. Today, I can do things that I couldn't even do when I was in 20s. The man does full snatches, full capabilities, unbelievable. And with 2 hip replacements. Wow. And this capability, right? So magic can happen when you pursue one thing and not 2. So you have to be careful how many things you pick up, you know, how many horses you are going to ride, right? So there are not too many. Just one is really great. When you have the one, you have capability to understand that, measure that one, comprehend that, to develop the plans, strategies, so the frontal lobe works, delayed gratification works, and so on. So you're capable actually to become better because of it. And see it, where is it? The worst is not to see. So that's why athletics, you see it like pole vaulter sees exactly where is it. Sprinter sees exactly, swimmer, right? All the games, when they interact with the other teams, they see whether the teams are better or worse and so on. So they are driven constantly of creating progress, making themselves better, and they know how to compare themselves. Where is it? The fitness doesn't want to compare itself, and it's really selling the biggest lie, right? Oh, comparison is bad, right? Good. Well, if you cannot compare, you cannot align yourself to anybody and so on, how you can actually know where you're going to go?
Yeah. And a lot of your training is based on Olympic lifting, is that right? Your sort of daily sort of fitness routine.
The Happy Body is based on Olympic weightlifting, but it was transitioned to the regular layman people that is, so they could actually do that, and it's a static system, but it's a gateway to Olympic weightlifting. Okay. It does a human being everything what a human eternally needs. Flexibility, strength, ideal body weight, leanness, posture, all of it, speed, coordination, mobility, all of it. And it's in 30 minutes a day.
And it's based on the overhead squat, is that?
So overhead squat press is that most difficult exercise here. Well, 17 were designed to actually deliver that.
Right.
But the squat press is also the gateway to Olympic weightlifting. If people can do squat press, full squat press without the box and support, and they will not compromise the back and they will not compromise the hips or ankles, so then from that you can take them boom into Olympic weightlifting. You can teach them snatch in 5 minutes because the form is there. Once the form is there, it's very simple to teach the techniques. The worst is when people, sometimes coaches, they teach the techniques, but the body cannot enter the form.
Right.
That's pretty stupid.
And in your program, people are doing this every single day. Is that right? For 30
every
minutes?
Single day. So they do every single day the happy body. If they want just the happy body and want a good life, that's enough to be 100 and have a fantastic life and go with the journey, right? But they are athletes. So athletes engage the happy body and they build the happy body. I build the happy body athlete around. So they go into days of squat, press squat, and different training sprints, jumping on boxes, and they do more athletic things. But they are so the power of the happy body is based on the 80-year-old Olympic weightlifting champion, right? 80. So when I watch, Henderson, in 2002 in Melbourne, and he was 80, and he clean and jerk the weight higher than his body weight. I was shocked. I was kind of, in Fortis, looking at the guy that is 80 years old and is so powerful. And, when I was in Poland, sometimes people lift, boys lifted weights, twice a year. They pull out the bars and then try, right? So the best of us could reach that level, lift the weight equals the body weight. Yeah. So I remember I was 110 and I could lift 100 pounds, something like it was 50 kilo. I could lift about 45, something like that. I was not able to lift really my body weight. I was looking at that man, 8-year-old, doing that, and like this. And that hit me that 80 is a good measure for people to achieve this strength, this power, to have a very good life, fantastic, robust body system, which you can really move around, all the flexibility and the posture and things and so on, right? And ideal body weight, you build the whole around, and you transition all these numbers to the static numbers of the squat press, you could actually build a system. So that number, I transitioned to the squat press because 58% of the squat press is actually, 58% is the military press. And that is actually great because that number gave me the standard for the strength and standard for the speed, right, which I set up for about 5 seconds. So then you have these numbers, and you align around these numbers to pursue and go forward and forward. And then, when you're in 30s and 40s, it's easy to get these numbers, right? So, but when you are in 70, it's harder, right? Mm-hmm. So the happy body ends on the standards of the 80-year-old world champion. The happy body athlete is the next level. It ends on the 60-year-old. It's like me. Right. So all athletes, like basketball players and the hockey players and so on, they have to be at least as powerful as I am, a 65-year-old, right? If they are, right? But they're not. Most of them, they cannot snatch their body weight, right? So, but they should have that power, that strength, and they should to pursue that. And if they pursue certain things, and what they need also is the power. They need the plyometrics and jumping. That's what happens in the snatch and the clean and jerk. It's very important elements of building better joints and quicker body system. That is really the most important in athletics. Yeah? The speed is important in athletics. Power is important, not the strength. You can be strong and slow, but that's not good, right? Not good for athletics. You're not going to win almost anything up there, right? If you're just strong, you can in archery be okay. Yeah. It's the only place is that you can be 250 pounds, and you can be okay if you are overweight and strong. But other than that, it's not going to golf. You could get away, and once you go to the games, it's speed and power. Yeah. It's a strength related to time.
Right. So if people want to find out about your program, your books, what have you got at the moment? I know you've got a bunch of books. Could you share what your programs and that you have?
So, I about 10 years ago, 11 years ago, we were driving to our editor. We were just trying to put together in words what the happy body was. What was that we were coaching? What was how we coach people from 87 and throughout life when we focus actually on this flexibility strength and pursuing this that actually would create a great life. And how we did it person to person, right? And then we thought that we have to really write down that thing for people in a measurable kind of way. The truth of that thing has to be clear there. Science has to be attached to it, so it's not vague. So people really know clear what we are asking them and why we're asking them for it, right? So we were going to our editor, and I was passing this place, San Francisco, hills, and I said, you know what? You look at this house. There's the house that somebody is there, and for me, if that person can take the happy body and create this youthful way of living on his own there, how wonderful that thing could be, right? And then we started really working on how to really create the book. We created the book, and then something else came. And when the book was created, doesn't mean that people would actually be able to actually achieve it and pursue that and so on. So there is that link between us and the stranger was big.
Yeah.
People were buying the books, and certain people would send us emails and so on, how wonderful it is, and they were able to create for themselves from just the book, right? But there may be 5-10% of people are like that, with their self-control already there. The other 80-90 needed really something. So like our clients needed. So the book was there, and then something else was needed. So then we adjusted, the whole philosophical system to it. We started writing poetry, stories, and lectures, and virtues, and self-mastery book, and talking to people about fatalism and the master, and how to work with this, right? And then recently, I started really connected back to that person up there, the stranger up there, because I started working with coaching people online. I get that online coaching well. I can meet people. It's still personal to personal, right? So that works. It works very well here when I coach people one-on-one. Then something happened with that I got the idea of that I can maybe coach 10 people, on the internet. And I started doing that. It was so strange to see the monitor and 10 people up there for me and connect to these people. 5 people, I could connect to the same people and have them over time, right? And deliver what I wanted to deliver, right? So because I can do it, but delivery is not that. But I care for these people, for everyone. That stranger, I care for the stranger, that stranger gets it. So I have this thing with me that it has to work, right? It has to work that way. So so that stranger is still there. And then I started working with 5 people and 10 people. And then recently I'm getting the idea that I am ready really for talking to the stranger. I am ready talking to the stranger. That way that it could be that stranger is ready for this subscription system that we are going to start in July. And we'll see how it is. Because, it's easy to talk to a million people, but it's hard to talk to everyone separately. In a way, you talk to the million, but you think about everyone there, right? Separately. So a stranger is there, a stranger, and you're kind of responsible for the stranger. You develop the system that has to work, with the
individual.
At the beginning, when we published the book, a lot of people in Woodside offered us money. Now you need money. I said, why do we need money? And said, well, you have business, you have the book, you can create, scale it and so on. Scale it where? We didn't have any idea how actually scale it and deliver it, right? Be responsible for that. So I said, I don't want any money. You know, no money, you don't want money? I said, no, I don't know what to do with the money. So I cannot take your money, right? Because I'm a responsible person. I'm also the business person that, whatever I do in my mind has to work. If I sell bars, I will sell bars. I will develop the plan, strategies to selling bars. I will do it very well. If I coach the happy body or weightlifting, or if I am a professor of philosophy, I will do that well too. But whatever I do, I devote my life to it. This is me. This is how I'm going to do. So that stranger is really something that, so my challenge in the future coming very close is how I'm going to interact with people that they will be on subscription, so I can help everyone. How I can develop but how I can develop that connection up there, that everyone understands what I want, and everyone understands that we are all on the wagon, the same wagon going, and everyone is a kind and good to each other, and comprehends where we are, where is the present moment, and how we can make things better. And that is very difficult to pass on.
Yeah. So if people, have you got a website or
Yeah, we have a website, the Happy Body website, and then
what's the website domain on that one?
It's thehappybody.com.
Right, okay.
And then in July we'll start the subscription, so that website will turn itself into coaching. Okay. And that is my client. I understand that the subscription is my client. Yeah. That I'm ready for that one. I was not ready for since 2009 when 10 years ago when the book was published. Yeah. But today I'm ready. I'm ready with spirituality, with philosophy, with poetry, with the physical. I'm old enough to comprehend everything. A lot of people, when you are young, you just don't have that comprehension. You don't have that what is needed. Yeah. And it's really hard to agree also to what is needed to do it.
Yeah.
So.
And what about, you've got one more book as well that I was looking at. That's your new book, is it, as
Virtues?
Well? Virtues, which is very interesting.
Very interesting book. So this is the book that we created after about 20 years. And these are the virtues, the ways that we should live life by, right? Like kind of ethics, wisdoms, proverbs, and so on. But these are all our sayings throughout our coaching careers, and which help really with our clients. But nobody knows which virtue works with whom, right? Yeah. So there's no way to know either that. And the timing is crucial. So we created the book to actually work with the virtues. So there are 52 virtues, and a person will spend 1 week for every virtue, and will respond to every virtue every day differently, from I think, I know, to I believe, I feel, to I plan, to I strategize. And my experience is this. Why is it so? Because the virtue is certain knowledge. Doesn't mean that we become it, right? So the purpose is to organically integrate the wisdom. That wisdom, like hard choices is life, all right? It's very simple, right? But it's really hard to integrate. Yeah. It's very hard to become the person to actually live by that.
Yeah, we were talking about that knowledge earlier. You know, we collect all this knowledge, but we're not actually living.
Yeah, it's like it happened, 2,500 years ago. Plato was the one that was a philosopher, but he was a philosopher about knowing about philosophy. And Socrates was the one that was Stoic, was the one that lived being a Stoic. So Stoics taught by mimicking. They knew how hard it is to be a Stoic. And there is no way, they thought, that it can be done with just books, written. So they didn't, but they taught from, the Stoa, the place where they were, and they exposed themselves to other people. And when people saw them, they also could mimic the goodness, how they behave, how they believe, how they talk, was attractive for them. So they could see it, what they could become. But when you read a book, then you don't see that thing, what you could become. So it becomes very shallow, cannot penetrate this deeper into actually becoming it. So the whole philosophy in life and the believing system is that if you believe that life is not good, then life is not good, right? So it's like if you believe that easy choices are the way to live life, and that is a good thing, then of course it will take you to the life of no progress, not becoming a better person over time, and not finishing education and making business and improving yourself and so on. It's not going to happen, right? So Stoics believe in something interesting. I think that people miss the whole thing here about progress and so on. So Stoics believe that nature brought you here, but nature is you have to comprehend nature as nature, not your mother and father, but nature, big nature, like a planet brought you here. You are here because all the people happen here, but the planet happened here. That's why people happen here. So it's all this nature. Without really the nature, without the soil, we would never have animals and people, right? So we happen, right? But we happen here, and then we have this capability, our awareness to know where we are. And then it starts with the whole thing of Aristotle is know yourself, right? What does it mean, really? Explore yourself, who you are, how you believe, what you think, and so on. It's important. Why it matters, right? Why it matters? So it matters because Stoics believe that you are left with the purpose in life to finish what nature brought you with, to make out of it the best what you can do really with that. And somehow I comprehended that throughout my life, that the biggest motivation for me is to work on that, work on improving that nature of me.
Right. Yeah.
Like constantly improving that nature, and that improvement is ingrained in me. But it was ingrained, like long time ago. I got lost with the alcoholism and so on, but somehow I see this is a little bit up there that I had it. But we got lost too, right? It's not a big point that we got lost. The more important is that we forgive ourselves, close the circle, and move on to the next. And here is my mentor, Jerzy Gregorek, who is a priest, and he was in solidarity and fighting for freedom like I did during this time of 80s, 81, 82, 83, and 84. He was captured and he was tortured and lost his life. And he was a person of unconditional love, I that he had it. I've never seen it before. I would never trusted that somebody. It was a big lie for me if somebody would tell me that people would just love people. It's just it was not my belief, you see. But when I saw it, I saw it.
Yeah.
I saw the man that loved people.
You weren't reading
really
it.
loved
You
everyone.
was watching it.
And it really flipped me. You see, that's why I believe that, people can flip you. Like Thich Nhat Hanh, the Buddhist monk that is in France, he can this flip me too. It's like people can really flip you. And once they do, you cannot go back. You just cannot go back to the person what you were before. You have to really be that way. So the Jerzy had 3 words that he's remembered after: truth, love, and forgiveness, right? So when I created the Happy Body, I didn't even know that these 3 words are integrated in the system up there, right? When 2018, last year or 2 years ago, I was awarded this medal. So Jerzy in 2010 became a saint, recognized as a saint by martyr by Catholic Church. And it was a medal created to give to people that fought for the same cause. And I was given that medal. And on the medal is this truth, love, and forgiveness, right? And then I fly back and I'm thinking about the Happy Body. And I think how I created the science, the truth, of the reality of the human being there in numbers, all the way the science very clear, transparency 100%, there's no vagueness there. And how I also created the falling in love with it. How you can really, fall in love with something that you don't like, but it's good for you, right?
Yeah.
So that's the whole point, right? And then how I over and over talk to people that if you do something wrong, you have to forgive yourself. That's forgiveness instantly. Because that takes you into the present moment, as what I was saying. Takes you away from being guilty, takes you away from all this, talk. It's useless completely. So right away you can close it.
Just finish it
And
off.
it really doesn't matter, whether it will work in the future or not. People just try to overthink this too much. Forgive yourself no matter what you did. But if you do, then you back into the present moment. And once you back into the present moment, you can actually start something now new, right? And help yourself.
Yeah, very good. Well, look, final question, because I know I've probably kept you a lot today, but escape your limits is about escaping what you or other people have believed is impossible and made it possible. You're a great example of someone who escapes your limits, but what would be a recent example of where you've escaped your own personal limits in a way we've not probably spoke about already?
Well, I think I was talking about this stranger in the world, and that is, my limit, how I can reach that stranger today, how I can reach the stranger without actually sitting with him one-on-one. And that, I'm thinking in the last 10 years, how to make it happen. And everything what I did in the last 10 years is coming to this point.
Right.
How to help that stranger, with achieving, youthful, better life. How to work with it. And I don't know how I'm going to do it. And I don't know whether I do it, but it really doesn't matter for me because that's what I'm doing, right? And that's what I continue to do it. I recognize it that it's it's an obstacle. But that obstacle will create better me.
Okay.
Right? Once I really figure this out, it means that a lot of things I have to go through. And that's good. I love this because that's the hard choices.
So
right?
like we said in the beginning, you've got this goal. You don't know how you're going to get there, but you're just going to keep working on
Exactly.
making yourself better to be able to do that, whether you do it or not, I guess.
Well, I am the man of no expectations, so it really doesn't matter to me whether it works or not. But I do everything, but I am devoted to the work.
Right.
So it's not like I would be sleeping and doing nothing. Right? So also I'm very engaged. All my clients gave me the gift of problems that I have to find out how to solve. And by solving them, I became a better man, better person.
Right.
So I was just in Hawaii. I give you the example. I was in Hawaii, and cerebral palsy girl is living there. She's 18 years old. Cannot control the head, cannot control the arms and legs. The saddest thing I've ever seen in my life. That 18-year-old girl is trapped in a body she cannot control. So the mother listened to the podcast that I did with Tim Ferriss. I was talking about that I worked with this cerebral palsy boy for 4 years. And then there's a Google talk that I did about that. And she called me. And I talked to her, and then she sent me the video. At first, I said, well, you need to bring her here, and you will... you can spend maybe 3 days like usually does. So it means my head is working not connected really to the problem at all. So you can come here, then I can see her 3 times and see if we can do something or not. Okay, good. And I said, well, send me the video, I'd like to see it. When I saw the video, I broke, man. When I saw that video, I said, wow. I have to go there. Yeah, I just, I have to go there. There's no way. So I got my plane and went to Hawaii. Because if I can do something to the girl that is trapped like that, that would be, nothing would be bigger than that, really, in life. This is it, right? So I went up there. And mother holds the head of the girl, and she's behind. The girl cannot sit on her own. She can only lay down, and she cannot stand up. And her arms like this, she cannot control, so very involuntary movements completely, right? So the first 2 hours I spent really being with my hand around her and try to see if she has the reaction. Her mind is good. That's the saddest thing, that her mind is good and she's trapped. So I put my hand near her face and waited and talked to her, and took breaks, and 2 hours like that. Then I start sensing that there is certain possibility up there that she will do something with these arms if you can ask her. So I got the feelings, and take the ball. Next day I work with the ball, the green ball that she liked, and ask her to touch the ball with the arm, trying to touch it. And I saw this shaking and the movements up there, and then I did 1 minute, and then the rest, and then the left arm, back and forth, and then during this second day, her arms were like this, yeah, and then sometimes she touched the ball with the elbow, so she already showed certain progress with the movements that she didn't have it before. And then on the third day, her arms were like this, and her hands were here, and then she struggled to touch. Sometimes she touched, sometimes she didn't, the ball. But then something amazing happened. I put the hand like this, and she started touching my hand herself, and one hand from the other and the other on the top, and she touched me on both sides. I think that's something she's never done before. She's never touched really. She was touched, but she's never really touched. And mother started crying, and Angela started crying, and you're like, what? And the girl was like down like this, and it's just a very little thing, yeah, but it happened. And you can see this. And now, I started thinking about, then I gave the mother the method, how to work, how to start. I also found out that she knows that 2 + 2 is 4, but nothing beyond. So I coached her to know 7. So the mathematics started building in, as the logic is important because the brain is thinking. So I started really working on both sides, the physical and then the math. And then, came home and I had a session 3 days after on Skype with the mother. And mother said that she woke up in the morning and she had the hairband in her fingers. And she's never had anything in her fingers. She's never had that thing. And she had it, and she doesn't know how she had it. So maybe it was there, maybe not, but we see very little things that make me happy. You see, like when I see things like this micro progression, it makes me very happy. It makes me it's like I have this instant gratification when in the right place.
In a
right?
positive way, yeah.
Yeah, that is like when I see it, it just gives me so much happiness, so much warmth, right? But I brought her in to talk about how I become a better person, because these are the huge obstacles, like with the cerebral palsy boy I coach already 4 years, and from completely dependent, dressing the boy, taking to the toilet and so on. The boy today goes to school, studies now, finishing grade 7. He wants to finish grade 8 and go to community college. He spends 10 hours on, learning math, and he couldn't even sustain a minute when he came here, completely lethargic, and his language was only go to bed or time to eat, and that was his life 4 years ago.
Wow.
So, did I become a better person because? Yes, of course. These are these huge obstacles that were there, but by solving them, I became a better human. And here's this guy who wrote "The obstacle is the way." There's My Holiday or some, I always forget his name, sorry. But it's a really, really great title. Obstacle is the way, right?
Is the way, yeah.
Here's it's a very clear saying that the hard choice is your life, right? Is in a different way, right? Yeah. Very, very clear.
Yeah, yeah. It's a difficult one to sort of get your head around, but it's right. When you explain it that way, it's we probably all take those easy choices because they're easy and they probably instantly feel good. But it's the hard choices, the obstacles are really which is going to give us that happiness. And
life is good, and it's very easy to make that life worse.
Yeah.
And it's really fantastic to make it better.
Yeah.
Right? When it happens, when it comes better, it's just the same as the self-control is more pleasure than self-indulgence. It really is. And then when it happens, it's beautiful. Yeah. It's really, nothing is, I think, better gift than actually delayed gratification. I think that about marshmallow study at Stanford,
it's
right?
one that I think a lot about with my children as well. Yeah.
So the 4-year-olds were asked to stay for 15 minutes and not to eat marshmallow, and that was clear cut between instant gratification and delay, right? And those kids that they could actually stay for 15 minutes and get another marshmallow, that capability was projected into the life, right, into the future, because they revisited these people 20 or 30 years after. And those who really could delay, the time, the gratification, they were able to have finish the college and have families and children, good business, everything worked for them. And others, they had problems. Some of them, they had problems with law, finances, and so on and so on.
There's a great video of the children lifting it and smelling it and
some of them,
licking
they
it.
covered their head, peekaboo, and so on, pull the hair. Well, whatever works, right? But you can see now with this, there is a rainbow between the delayed gratification and instant, right? It's not so simple that this or that. Some of them, they just waited and that's it, and it worked. Some of them, they ate very fast. So, some of them that they ate very fast have a very strong, awarding system, and will be important for them to coach them throughout life. So they could develop that delayed gratification system, the planning strategies and then wait for certain things and practice this on a daily basis, right? It is important for us to see our clients how they are too, how they are in this, and then we help them to go and delay. And I think delayed gratification is the best gift that you can give to another human being. If you can, teach that is a great gift.
At any age.
Yes.
Well, Jerzy, what a wonderful place to finish. I appreciate it. I could talk for hours, to be honest.
Well, we probably could go another 2-3 hours, right? I don't know how much time passed, but probably at least 1 hour.
I think so. How long have we been? I think we've been about 2.5 hours, Kevin.
No.
2 hours, 41 minutes.
Oh, wow. That's my longest...
Really?
That's the longest one I've ever... Wow.
You see, that's what it means to stay in the
present.
present. You see, when you stay in the present, time flies.
Yeah, it does. I didn't realize. Normally we're an hour and a half for a long one.
Yeah, you have a good time.
I've never done.
You have a good time.
2 hours. We've done a marathon.
Right.
Thank you so much, Jerzy. Thank you.
Pleasure.
It was wonderful. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, then please go over to iTunes and subscribe to the Escape Your Limits podcast. Leave a review, leave a comment. It really would help us a lot to continue to keep these going.